Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about how to sideboard with Lotus Field / Hidden Strings combo in Pioneer. We're going to be talking about how to sideboard against the top 10 most popular decks, and also what the roles of each card in the sideboard do. So this is the Lotus Field Combo deck in Pioneer, and before we jump into how to sideboard against the top 10 most popular decks, I wanted to talk about each card in the sideboard, and the roles of each card in the sideboard. Silence is for decks that can interact with your combo after you've started going off. So I'm talking things like counterspell decks and stuff like that. 9 lives is really good against aggressive decks, especially decks that can kill you faster than you can combo on average. Temporary Lockdown, really good against aggressive decks as well. Again, you might notice aggressive decks are a rough matchup for us. Same thing with Depopulate, allows us to wipe the board unconditionally, especially if there's things that Temporary Lockdown can't get. Approach to the Second Sun is mostly a wishboard target. It's how it eventually kills by grabbing the Dark Petition. Sphinx of the Final Word, very good against counterspell decks. Sort of allows us to go off without having to worry about counter magic. Glistening Deluge, really good against these aggressive decks as well. Same thing with Path of Peril, needing to really stop our opponent from doing things. Voyaging Satyr is very strong against decks that are fast as well. If we need to turbo out our combo. Dragonlord Jamoka, also very good at stopping our opponents from stopping our combo, especially, during our turn. Also having lifelink is very powerful and can just be like a game ender against the fast decks. Zakama, you can Zakama and essentially win the game, especially if your opponent is playing creature decks. And then we have an extra Emergent Ultimatum as a wish target or a Dark Petition target if we need to grab it from our sideboard because we're unable to draw it from the main deck. As another side note, if you want to learn about this deck as a whole, I did a deck tech on it that was posted last week. You should totally check that out. But without further ado, the most popular deck in Pioneer is Rakdos Midrange. Against Rakdos Midrange, we're bringing in Temporary Lockdown because a lot of their hate cards, Temporary Lockdown can actually hit. We're bringing in Depopulate to slow down the aggression. And then we're just going to be shaving on Strict Proctor since it's really easy for them to answer. And there's really no need in us trying to rush out the mana from Lotus Field. So this is sideboard against Rakdos Midrange. I would also like to say that as a whole, you aren't going to be sideboarding too much because remember, you're a combo deck. We have alternate plans, but those alternate plans are often going to be just grabbed with as wish targets. Anyway, the second most popular deck is It Phoenix? Against Is It Phoenix, we are bringing in Silence and we are bringing in Voyaging Satyr just so we can kind of turbo it out because Is It Phoenix can be pretty fast in a lot of different ways. And then similar to Rakdos, we are going to be shaving on Strict Proctor just because it doesn't stop anything what your opponent's doing because Strict Proctor is one of those cards that helps us but is also mostly being played as main deck hate. And so we're going to be taking that out in this is how I sideboard against Is It Phoenix. The third most popular deck is Rakdos Aggro. Against Rakdos Aggro, we're going to be bringing in 9 lives. We're going to be bringing in Temporary Lockdown, Depopulate, Path of Peril, the Voyaging Satyr just to go even faster. And again, because Strict Proctor doesn't actually neuter anything in our opponent's deck, we're going to be cutting the Strict Proctor. I'm also a big fan in bringing in Zakama just so we can cast Zakama. We're going to be shaving on Emergent Ultimatum because I'd rather just try to interact with our opponent. Shaving on Pour Over the Pages. And because we're shaving on Emergent Ultimatum, I like cutting on Essence as well. But this is how I sideboard against Rakdos Aggro. The fourth most popular deck is Jund Sacrifice. Against Jund Sac, we're bringing in Temporary Lockdown. It's just genuinely very, very good against the deck. And we're going to be shaving on an Emergent Ultimatum and a Bala Ged Recovery. Giving up on a little bit of a consistency with our combo for interaction, I think is totally fine because we need to keep everything else. Especially keeping in Strict Proctor because it stops the cat combo, which is very scary. The fifth most popular deck is Selesnya Company. Against Selesnya Company, we are bringing in Depopulate and Glistening Deluge and Path of Peril. And I'm a fan of Zakama again against these creature decks like we talked about. And we're going to be shaving on a lot of the consistency in our combo like we've done before against these creature decks. I'm going to be shaving an Emergent Ultimatum, 2 Pour Over the Pages, 1 Omniscience. And that's how we sideboard against Selesnya Company. The sixth most popular deck is Niv-to-Light. Against Niv-to-Light, I like bringing in Silence, both because sometimes they bring in cards to interact with us during our turn, but also if we do this in response to a Bring to Light, they can't cast the card they grab, which is awesome. Then we're going to be bringing in both Dragonlord Jamoka and Zakama. And similar to how we've done before, we're just going to shave on the combo, consistency, and that's how we sideboard against Bring to Light. The seventh most popular deck is the Mirror Match. In the Mirror Match, before we even talk about bringing something, we have to bring out Strict Proctor because it helps our opponent as well. So we can't have that card in our deck. We're bringing in Silence because it can kind of interrupt and act as sort of counter magic in our opponent's turn. And we're bringing in Voyaging Satyr just to sort of turbo out and to stop the Strict Proctor stuff. And there's nothing else in our sideboard that we like really want. And so I'm just bringing in a Zakama as a finisher. So size sideboard. In the mirror. The 8th most popular deck is Azorius Control. Against Azorius Control, obviously we're bringing in Silence, so they have a harder time interacting with us. Dragonlord Jamoka in the main deck is important just so we can cast it and it just sort of do its thing. And then we're bringing in the Voyaging Satyr just to go a little bit quicker because we're going to be cutting the Strict Proctor because it doesn't do anything to our opponent's deck. And so this size sideboard against Azorius Control. The 9th most popular deck is Gruul Aggro. Against the Gruul Aggro deck, we're bringing in Temporary Lockdown, Depopulate, and Path of Peril. I'm also a fan of Voyaging Satyr just to turbo things out a little bit more. Again, also a big fan of Zakama just as like an awesome finisher in the main deck. And they're going to be shaving on consistency in our combo like we've done before because we really need to interact or we just die. Out of Ball, get recovery, and we'll shave on a Strict Proctor. So that's how I sideboard against Gruul Aggro. And the 10th most popular deck is 5-color Idiomatic Incarnation. Against 5-color Idiomatic, I'm just shipping it back. I think this matchup is insane, and Strict Proctor like neuters what our opponent's doing, and it's just so good. So we're just shipping it back. I love it. They have had a sideboard against the top 10 most popular decks in Pioneer with Lotus Field Combo. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.